There are a number of single asset companies in Nevada, and we think it makes a lot more sense for those single asset projects to be grouped together under an umbrella to make a multi-asset company with much, much higher production, which again would get that re-rating from the higher production levels. And we think Fiore is the logical home for those projects because of our technical team and the skill that we've demonstrated here putting pan into production.
Fiore Gold Limited is a sponsored client of PinnacleDigest.com.
Peak gold is real. I'm talking about peak global gold production. New data suggests we will see record production either this year or next before entering a period of prolonged declines. Consider this. The world's top 5 gold miners are all forecasting annual production declines from 2017 to 2018. Barrick Gold is forecasting a 10.7% decline, while Anglo Gold is looking at a 9.8% decline, according to mining.com. This is a global issue as the world's easy-to-find, high-grade deposits are being mined out. China, the world's largest producer of gold, saw its production fall 9% in 2017. As we explained in a recent weekly volume titled, "Gold Discoveries Have Plunged at the Perfect Time," the underlying issue behind decreasing production is low gold prices, which have failed to incentivize exploration. At some point, gold prices will rebound amidst declining production and a lack of new discoveries. When that happens, gold producers with exploration upside will be rewarded. For all of these reasons, we've traveled to Ely, Nevada to meet with Fiore Gold. Fiore is producing gold at its Pan mine and has the exploration upside and prolific history of Nevada working in its favor. Tim Warman is the president and CEO of Fiore and will be showing us around the Pan mine today. Tim is a professional geologist with over 25 years experience in all phases of mineral exploration, from grassroots to feasibility and development. He has held board or senior leadership roles with some of the most successful exploration and development companies of the past decade, which together have discovered over 30 million ounces of gold. Tim, first of all, thanks for having us out to Fiore's Pan gold mine. Can you first outline what kind of deposit the Pan mine hosts?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Pan is just a really typical Carlin-style open pit oxide heap leach type deposit. Very simple, very straightforward, low cost kind of mining. And you know, you couldn't pick a better location to be than in Nevada. You know, Nevada produces something like 80% of the US gold production, over 5 million ounces of gold a year come out of the state, and there are so many other you know, big prolific mines scattered around in this particular area. You know, not just including Pan, but also our Gold Rock project, which is just to the east of us here. So yeah, it's a great place to work in terms of infrastructure, in terms of skilled labor, in terms of the communities. You can't beat it.
Fiore's corporate strategy is to build production to 150,000 ounces per year, a bold goal by any measure. How does the company plan on achieving that?
Yeah, it's really 3 points. The first one was obviously to get the Pan mine up and running, you know, and really demonstrate that our team has the technical ability to turn around an operation that had some problems and get it humming as it is today. And then we want to expand the resource base here, expand the reserve base, and increase production, and we're working towards that as well. The second point is to get our Gold Rock project up into production. Gold Rock is about 8 miles behind me over that next range of hills. And Gold Rock, we think, can produce in the range of Pan, sort of 50 to 70,000 ounces a year. And that's kind of the second point. And then finally, there are a number of single asset companies in Nevada, in some of the surrounding states that are either just getting into production or very, very near term to production. And we think it makes a lot more sense for those single asset projects to be grouped together under an umbrella to make a multi-asset company with much, much higher production, which again would get that re-rating from the higher production levels. And we think Fiore is the logical home for those projects because of our technical team and the demonstrated you know, skill that they've demonstrated here putting Pan into production.
Leveraging the infrastructure of the producing mine here at Pan?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So is growing production here at Pan fundamental, in your opinion, to a re-rate from the market?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's crystal clear when you look at the data. Companies that are below that 100,000 ounce mark per year of production are rated at 1 multiple. Then you get across that magic 100,000 ounce a year barrier, and suddenly you're into a different ballgame. You're into the McEwens, the Guyana Golds, and these larger companies, and you see a significant re-rate on every metric across the board.
Right. And I don't want to hold you to a timeline or anything like that, but what is the goal internally? A couple years out? When is this realistic?
So, some of these different points that we talked about are going to take different timelines and have different schedules. Gold Rock, for instance, that's probably at least 3-4 years away. We do have the permitting almost in hand on that, which will help us a lot. But really in the shorter term or the more intermediate term, I'd like to get one strategic acquisition done this year, really to at least, with the goal of at least doubling the production of the company right now. So this year we're at that sort of 35 to 40,000 ounces. I'd like to get us pushing up closer to 100,000 ounces, by the end of this year. And that's really the goal we're focused on now. Gold Rock is a little bit longer term, but again, it'll all add together and get us to that 150,000 ounce mark.
We've come inside here. This is the next step of collection and concentration. Can you talk about this facility and how things work?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of that cyanide solution we put on the leach pad ends up down here in the pond just on the other side of this wall. And then the water gets pumped up here, and this water that you see here is a very dilute gold solution. And what we want to do is we want to concentrate that dilute gold solution so that we can get the gold out of it in our refinery. So that water containing the gold comes in here and it's pumped up through the bottom of a series of tanks, and these tanks are actually filled with charcoal made from coconut shells. And that charcoal sucks the gold out of the solution. And the water flows down through 6 of these identical tanks, and by the time it's gotten to the bottom, all the gold is gone. And all the gold is attached to this charcoal. And so we take this charcoal or carbon, and we then take it over to some of the equipment over here, run it through a series of processes, and that allows us to concentrate that gold solution until we can take it through the wall into the refinery where we actually pour gold.
And that's what we're going to see next.
Absolutely.
Tim, do you want to explain what that last pond is?
Yeah, so the pond behind us there is basically just water. It's gone through the gold plant, the ADR plant there. The gold has been stripped out of it onto that carbon. And this water will again be recycled and sent back up to the leach pad once we've added a little bit of cyanide to it here. And really just starts the whole cycle over again. It's a big closed loop.
Looking down the line, can you talk about the current resource and plans to expand the resource here at Pan?
Yeah, so the current resource at Pan and measured and indicated is about 430,000 ounces, and there's about another 70-odd thousand in inferred. And one of the things we've been doing since the beginning of the year is a dedicated drill program at Pan to grow that resource, both laterally around the existing pits and below the existing bottom of the planned pits, so that we can really start to grow those pits and extend that mine life. And one of the areas we're focused on is in around the north pit in an area that's called Red Hill. Red Hill is, for this deposit is quite high grade. It's getting up close to 1 gram per ton. And the average grade at this Pan mine is about 0.5 gram per ton. And so bringing in some of these high grade ounces really helps a lot with the mine plan and with the kind of long-term economics of the mine as well.
Right, and in terms of exploration dollars this season, summer 2018, how much is going to be spent here as opposed to Gold Rock?
Yeah, so it'll be split in some ways about 50-50. We're doing a drilling program right now here at Pan. It's going to be a mix of RC and diamond core drilling, and that's really to understand a deposit that we already know fairly well and really just start to grow it. In a few weeks, we're going to flip the drill rig over to Gold Rock, and that's really where I think some of the excitement lies, because Gold Rock has a 10-kilometer long strike length of prospective geology and alteration and geochemistry and golden soils and structure and all of the things that we see around the existing historical resource at the Easy Junior pit. That geology just continues on in both directions, right from one end of the property to the other. And again, that type of geology is very, very similar to the geology just to the north at Kinross's Bald Mountain mine. Remember, Bald Mountain has something like 2.2 million ounces in reserves right now in a number of small pits that all feed into a central kind of processing area. And that similarity between Gold Rock and Bald Mountain is one of the reasons that Kinross came in as a significant shareholder when we did the merger with GRP, because they really wanted to have a piece of that exploration upside over a Gold Rock.
And what ownership do they have right now?
So right now, Kinross is just under about 6% of the company. And they've been a very good shareholder. They've worked technically with us. We've visited some of their properties and walked through the geology up at Bald Mountain with them. So it's been a really great relationship.
So as the operation ramps up here at Pan, with the goal of defining a larger resource at Gold Rock, are there any potential synergies? I know they're close. We drove, there's about 30-40 minutes in between the two deposits, right?
Yeah, so I mean, Gold Rock is going to have to be a standalone mine. It's a similar kind of low-grade, open pit, shallow, heap leach type operation, very, very similar to Pan. But we will be able to share some of the infrastructure. We'd probably be able to do the carbon stripping and do the refining over here. That saves a couple of $1 million in CapEx. The power line that was put in for Pan actually goes very close to Gold Rock. The admin, that type of thing, can all be done here at Pan. So I mean, there are small synergies, but they'll be significant in the end of the day. But Gold Rock will be very much a standalone mine.
Fiore Gold is a rare junior miner, due in part to the fact it is operating a mine. As we've seen, the company has exploration upside at both its Pan mine and its Gold Rock project. The summer season is going to be key for Fiore as it begins to drill at Gold Rock and works to expand its production here at the Pan mine.